Hola, y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha! Just kidding. Y si tú quieres cambiar tu vida, if you want to change your life, then subscribe. Ching! By the way, guys, I just published my book. It's out on Amazon called Shabbat in Chicago. It's about an audacious single mom who opens her heart and home to 5 adopted kids while embracing her Latino culture, while being Jewish. And today we have a very special guest. He is one of the OGs, I'm being honest, from the podcast, co-host, my brother, family, Guatemalan, the one and only Chino. What's up?
What up? What up? Thanks for having me again for like the 10 millionth time.
I know, bro. I think I've had you more probably than any one of my guests.
I gotta be up there. I gotta be on the list. You know,
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
be top 3.
Honestly, I'm gonna count it, but I think you've been over 50. Cause, dude, no lie, I got like 500 videos. So
I know that's crazy. You keep grinding.
thank you, bro. So you definitely like I gotta be honest, knowing you for so long, you gotta be like within the hundreds. Like I think even maybe a little bit more because
No way.
I've had you so much, bro. For real, like I had you a lot. But look, today I want to share something with y'all. Something that me and Chino we've been talking about, which is Star Wars, right? One of my favorite, biggest franchise, biggest movie. But to kind of dive in, something incredible happened to me last weekend. So basically Sunday, I was like, you know what? I want to go to Barnes and Noble. In Chicago, there's a lot of them that are closed, and Vegas, we have a few that are open. So I was like, you know what? Let me check it out. I walk in on the Sunday, and I'm not gonna lie, I realized something different. No lie. The coffee shop is always there. That's one thing. They always have that coffee shop.
Yeah.
But when I turned to the right to the anime section, like the magna or whatever you call it, what was fascinating, you see all these teenagers reading like the comic books or like the superhero or Dragon Ball Z, which is so cool. Them just talking about what they're reading to their friends. And then I turn to the left and I see like the history section, world history. And you see this man, maybe in his mid 80s, nice button down shirt, nice dress pants, reading a book. And he was there for like a good 2 hours on the chair, just reading. And it was just so inspiring because I felt like I was among thinkers, people that are wanting to use their imagination, because that's all about. When you read, you're using your brain, your mind. It creates how they're supposed to look like, right? The characters. And I was like, yo, this is a dope spot. I really like this. I go to a section for Star Wars. I was like, I got to get a book on Star Wars. And Chino, I want you to guess what book I pulled out. From all the characters, what book you think I picked?
Is a character book
The character book,
about
yeah.
a specifically book, a character?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Yoda.
Okay, not bad, It's pretty good. I actually picked Dark Plagueis.
Dark
So
Plagueis. Okay.
so it's his story and how he met Chancellor Palpatine.
Palpatine. Yeah, because that was his master, right?
Yeah.
Dark Plague. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So it was so cool. I got the book and I was like, yo, this book looks dope. It's like yellow, and I was like, yo, this is pretty cool.
Are those books considered canon?
Yeah, they're like cannons. So you're technically, this is what I found now, what I've studied, right? Looking this up. If you read this book, you can read Maul's story next, because remember, Maul becomes Chancellor.
He's a
Sidious's
princess. Yeah.
princess. Thank you, bro. I was trying to get the word, it didn't come out. No salió, you know what I'm saying? No me salió. But what's crazy is that I'm kind of curious to read them all because of his own series is about to come out, anime, The Shadows of the Lords. That's pretty cool. New show is about to come out, I think next year. But then they said if you get the Revenge of the Sith, that book, it's actually more detail of Anakin's story. Not only that, it's supposed to portray a father and a father-son relationship. Anakin being the son, and Palpatine being a father figure. And then once you read that book, because I heard there's like more stuff in there, more fights, you gotta read Lords of the Sith, which is a book based on Palpatine and Vader. Basically, is no more a father son figure. It's more like professional. Like, you now my master, I'm your apprentice. It's kind of
Right.
more like,
You do what I tell you.
yeah, yeah. So it's more like that level. And it's a New York Times bestseller. So I'm like, yo, that's dope. So let me just take you this. So, I got the book. Let me go back. I got the Dark Plagueis. I start reading it. Bro, tell me why this book sounds so amazing. It's teaching you about the secrets of the secret learning of the dark side. No lie. Talks about like the era after the Lord Bane's era, after it was gone. And the cool thing about Dark Plagueis, when he was a kid, he was already force sensitive. He was already able to manipulate people to do what they want, what he wanted in class, at work, anywhere. And what's crazy is that he thought this was something that no one knew, and his parents already knew that, yo, we know how to do it too. So it was cool that he was able to share the secret to his parents, which kind of bonded them. He said that when his father was like a treasurer for that place where they live. I forgot the name. And Jedi's would visit with their apprentice. And it said that Darth Plagueis could sense that them coming before they came. He's like, I could tell they're Jedi's. I could feel it. What was wild is that the Jedi's, or the Jedi Master, could not tell that Darth Plagueis knew the Force.
Oh,
So
they couldn't pick up on that.
they couldn't pick on it. And it's crazy. He's like, I could never learn with them. He said it to himself. I could never be taught by them. So it's wild that he was ahead of his time. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So in the story, I'm loving this. Like, the people that he's from, they call it Mun, or Munless. I think that's how you say it. They are a specific group of people that are in the town or a country that they're the richest of all galaxy. They're known to own banks. They're known to own shipping. Anything that comes in and out, they control it. But there's a lot of corruption. You already know the Trade Federation. There's a big one, right? They do a lot of movements. But what's wild is we go in the future. Darth Plagueis and his master, called Tenebris, I think that's how you say it. They're in this place called Baldemek. I think that's how you say it. And they have this specific mineral that it has a lot of rare energy, um, called Cyotis or something, Cyotis or something, or Cryotis. I forgot. Big words, but I be learning so many words I be forgetting. But it's crazy because there's a scene where Darth Plagueis master is about to die. Like, I think the ceiling is about to fall, and Darth Plagueis foreseeing the future of his master about to die, basically dying. And Darth Plagueis says, "I have the moment to save him, but I choose not to." And he doesn't, which is crazy, bro. He doesn't save his master. Reminds me of Anakin, how he could see the future of his mom dying, and um his mother, his mom and Padme, his wife. So it's kind of cool that Darth Plagueis has that gift. And
But Plagueis has the control also, though, because Plagueis, I think, understands that what's going to happen is going to happen. So
yeah,
he doesn't mess with it a little bit. Unlike Anakin, who tries to change it. Well, I guess they say Darth Plagueis can stop people from dying. So did he actually? I don't know if he ever did, but Anakin didn't have that self control.
yeah, Yeah, Anakin always had to have control. So and you're right. And the wild part is that Darth Plagueis, there's a scene in the ship, okay? After his master dies, he goes on this ship. I think of it like kind of like the Millennium Falcon, but maybe bigger. There was like 80 people in the ship, a lot of people. And Darth Plague is playing cool. Everyone's trying to figure out who he is, right? And they're like, man, maybe he's done something. He's hiding from someone, or what is it? And when they ask him, so tell us about yourself, he's like, yeah, I do stuff there and there. Like he does not. He keeps it so general. So the pilot's like, she's trying to figure out too, and he goes, look, I need to speak with the pilot privately. Okay. They speak in private. And he goes, look, if you give me where I need to go, I'll give you all the money you need. And she's like, I don't know if I should. I don't know. I gotta actually let my team know, and we have to vote. That's how we run things. So basically, they're voting, and she's like, you know what? I decided I'm gonna take you back where I picked you up. And he gets mad. And dude, this is pretty cool scene, but Dark Plague is basically annihilated everybody in the ship with the lightsaber. And one guy, his name is like Wandu, he says a quote so powerful. He says, you being a Jedi should have, knowing the Force, you should have manipulated us so we could do what you want us to do. But you choose, on the other hand, you chose to destroy us. And it's crazy because Darth Plagueis technically is not a Jedi; he's a Lord Sith. But it was amazing. Before he died, Wandu, he said those words. I thought that was deep. And then here's the plot twist. This is the last part. I'm gonna leave it with a cliffhanger. Darth Plagueis goes to this place where he meets a guy named Venomous, who happens to be a Lord Sith. Venomous says, I was trained by Darth Temperus. He sent me to kill you. Now that is Darth Plagueis' master. So that is wild that Darth Plagueis' master set up a plan to destroy his apprentice. Venomous was trained and learned the style of Darth Plagueis. They're fighting in the lightsaber. I'm picturing the woods. They're like going back and forth. This is tough. And Venomous is like, I'm gonna win this. And Plagueis is like, nah. But Venomous says, if I win, then I become the Lord Sith. They fight. Of course, Darth Plagueis win. That's where I live the cliffhanger. But the book is so good, bro, and so detailed. I just had to share that with you, bro. Any thoughts from what I just shared with you, brother? Any thoughts?
I mean, it sounds interesting. I wish there's a show for it, right? I've not been a good reader, so I'd probably like to pick it up and try to read, but man, I struggle when it comes to reading, dude. It's like, so I wish there was a show, and that's one of the things that with Disney taking over Star Wars, there's some good and bad with it, right? Because obviously we had Star Wars Episode 1 through 6, right, and that ended in 2005 with Revenge of the Sith, and then that was done. Like George Lucas was done, it was done, right? And then obviously Disney bought the rights and was able to create more shows. A lot of misses, some good hits, a lot of misses, right? And then just I feel like there's still so much story out there that people want to hear, but they choose to make other things. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens.
And real quick, what do you think about? I want to ask you, right? We've been watching a lot of shows, but like in movies, who is your favorite character from the Star Wars universe,
Oh,
and
that's an
why?
easy one. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Master Kenobi. I mean, you see his whole trajectory, man. Like, first of all, hello there. Like that line is just iconic, right? And then no, I mean just seeing his story, right? Like in the beginning in episode 4 when you first see him, right? Now obviously you and I were born after the first original 3 movies, all right? So more the prequels, as much as people don't like to claim this, but the prequels were like Star Wars to me, right? Because that's the ones I grew up watching, right? But I mean, just the whole the you see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan as a young Padawan, as going with Qui-Gon Jinn, right? Knowing that he, you know, really didn't want have anything to do with the kid being Anakin, and then seeing how his relationship develops, right? Because he looked at Qui-Gon as a father, then he lost him, and then he realized he needed to be that same father figure for Anakin, right? So he takes him under his wing, and then seeing that evolution and seeing how much he actually really loved him, right? And that's why like Episode 3 is just I think the most iconic, just has the most iconic moment in Mustafar when they're in their final battle, and that last speech that Obi-Wan says to him, right? Because it's powerful. It says like, I loved you, you were my brother, right? And you can see how much Obi-Wan struggles with that, right? He feels like he failed Anakin, right? And so just seeing his character development, right? He's always, he has his moments where he, questions himself and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, he always does the right thing, and plus his fight skills are just dope.
That's true. That's true. I gotta say, so for me, it's gotta go. I gotta give it to Anakin. He is the reason why I feel like he's the most relatable because think about it.
Damn, that says a lot about you, man.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's a sad story, but yes, yes, yes. But the crazy thing is, like, think about Anakin. You know, think of it like we live in a society, right, where you're not allowed to love, right? You're not allowed to have attachments, right? Anakin is the most realistic human being I could say because he falls in love with Padme, knowing that he's not allowed to according to the Jedi code. And there is jealousy when you're in a relationship sometimes, right? There is you'll have trials. You'll have a lot of good moments. And Anakin is living in a two life, being in a relationship hidden and being a Jedi, protecting the world, bringing order, peace, right? But the part where he is trying to claim to become master in front of the Jedi Council, right? This is the big test. They said no. And he should have because he killed Count Dooku. He should have became the master. They're like, no. Feeling pushed away, feeling not embraced for what you've done, feeling not, I guess, a leader. Anakin felt like I lost them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the black sheep. I feel like that a lot when I've been a part of a community. I've been part of an organization. I've been part of something. And it happens in life where you have been pushed away because they feel like you're a threat, because they feel like you're just not in our level, or they're just afraid of the knowledge and they don't want to embrace you because you're different. That's why I feel like Anakin, I relate more with him because I went through what he went through, right? Being shunned away. Now, with the dark side, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. Going to the dark side, you know, that feeling of anger, it does feel good. I'm not gonna lie. At that moment, you're like, yeah, I could pick up the chair. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, I could throw it. I could be like Hulk. But you realize that when you're angry, you make mistakes because you're not thinking before you do it, right? You're going
You're
off
acting with
emotion.
passion. You're acting with passion, right? Like you're
Yes.
definitely more passionate. You're more emotional, right? And then maybe in the moment, it's good to relieve that stress or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But then the aftermath of your decisions has consequences.
Right.
So, and that's the stuff that you don't really consider in the moments when you're, pure of hate.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I like Anakin, and there's been a study actually. This is fascinating, where they did in the History Channel, where they had two people to hit a punching bag. One guy took steroids, professional boxer, hit the punching bag. He had like this great power, but the one who had anger actually did 10 times better than the one who took steroids. So that's pretty cool how much strength you have when you use the dark side. I ain't gonna lie, brother, it got power. That's my intake about Anakin. What's your thoughts? What I shared about Anakin?
Well, Anakin is, first of all, shout out the actor who gets to play Anakin, because I feel like he's had a resurgence in the last couple of years. What is it? Hayden Christensen. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think when the first prequels came out, he got a lot of hate, and then with all this time that has passed and all the new shows, I think people really come to appreciate him. Right. Anakin, Anakin's a tragedy, right? His whole story, Darth Vader, his whole story is a tragedy. At the end of the day, it's a tragedy, right? Even though he is the chosen one, and he does eventually fulfill the prophecy, his story is a tragedy, right? But it is also one that is very real, right? And relatable, to your point. That people, although with having the best intentions, that they say the best, the road to hell was built with good intentions, right? People may think they're doing the right thing, but not knowing they're really, doing the wrong thing and causing destruction, right? Like Anakin, unfortunately, he was at a disadvantage. He only got to, discovered when he was a child, right? And in that time, he was a slave, right? So he saw the worst side of humanity already as a child, right? Coupled that with he got to spend time with his mother and love and feel love from his mother, right? When you're a Jedi, you're taken as a baby, and you're developed right from the beginning to not learn those emotions, to be clear minded, right? So he was already at a disadvantage when they found him. And so when he grows up and he starts seeing these visions of his mother dying, and he's seeing the people that he loves getting hurt, right? He can't fight those feelings like everyone else can, right? So again, I feel like a lot of this stuff was out of his own control. But it's sad to see, because you start seeing him, like he has a lot of good in him, but he slowly starts to turn. And I think the moment where he completely gave up, right? Because you always think he's gonna turn, but I think the moment he completely gave up is the moment when he became Darth Vader and he found out that Padme's dead, right? Right. His whole goal was to save her, and he ends up being the reason she dies. And then when she dies, he's like, he just gave up. And so he just like, I guess this is who I am now, right? I think there was still good in him, but he just, and it took 20 some years later for him to meet his son and learn about it, right? To turn around. And he turned around at the end of his life, and he made, he fulfilled the prophecy. But I feel like just the whole in between is a tragedy. Everything that he was, do. I'm sure in those last moments, he thought back to all the, messed up stuff he did once he became Darth Vader, right? He destroyed planets, he killed people, children. And I'm sure at the end, even though he felt redeemed, I'm sure he felt a lot of regret. So his story is a tragedy, right? But you see that a lot in real life, right? You see some people that, at one point we're all, rooting for somebody, and then you realize they end up being this crazy dude, and their life turns around, right? I think we've all had people in our lives that we've, loved, but also seen them cause a lot of hurt and pain. And so but I think that's what makes Star Wars and the Anakin story so appealing, right? It's just relatable.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, brother. It's crazy, man, how I personally think he is the strongest Jedi of all time. Jedi, Lord Sith, because he he destroyed, like I said, Count Dooku, um, one of the toughest ones to beat, right? Lord Sidious, right? His own master, who survived the entire galaxy almost, you know what I'm saying? Like he lived a long, long time. Um, and like Luke Skywalker, what's crazy too is that Luke Skywalker, I would say, also is the top Jedi. Like hands down, he trained by Yoda. Master Yoda is one of the OGs, the best fighter too. But and he did beat his father. I'm not gonna lie, but you got to remember, like you said, Lord Vader did beat Lord Sidious. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah, no, I
took.
mean Vader is for sure one of the most powerful, and I think when you're fighting someone like father and son, there's definitely, I feel like there's people holding back, right, on both sides. So I don't think you give it your all, right? But no, for sure. I mean, Luke is one of the best Jedi's of all time, right? I mean, no doubt about that. But I think Vader, to your point, is probably the most powerful that we've seen.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
just can't control his emotions. That's his problem.
yeah, yeah. He's strong, man. Like Hulk, he won't
Mhm.
stop. Now I want to ask you something. So let's talk about, you seen the show Andor, right? So I'm
Oh,
not.
hold on. I've only seen season one. I've not seen season two
Oh,
yet.
brother, you're killing me, brother.
I've
You're
not seen
killing
season two
me.
yet, so don't ruin it for me,
Okay, I
please.
was about to ruin it for you, brother. I was like,
Don't
this
watch.
goes, this goes. What
I've not
about?
seen season two. I have seen season one.
Okay, okay. So you already know Andor, won a great show. I think it's nice that they put a Latino main character to actually have his own full season 1. Now we got the season 2, and he's also in that big film Rogue One, which is one of the best. I think is one of the top Star Wars movie of all times.
I think it's probably the only really, really good Disney Star Wars movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like that one, you would think it's episode 7, 8, 9, the continuation. No, Rogue One is the thing that stole it away. Rogue One was incredible. And I never thought we'd see any of those characters again, you know? So when they announced an Andor show, I was like, okay, cool. I thought it was just going to be a one season because we all know what happens. And the fact that there's two seasons, yeah, I mean, Disney did a really good job with that one.
Yeah, because the new Star Wars, bro, is terrible, man. The new ones like the with Ray. I think I told you last time I don't like the new ones because you don't really see a moment where Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, trains Ray of the Force. You don't really see him showing cool techniques with the lightsaber or any force movements or anything. And I didn't like that. Like that scene where she comes and gives him the lightsaber and he throws it. What the heck was that? Like,
Well, I mean, I think Mark Hamill himself said it also, right? He doesn't like the direction it went either, right? He was excited to come back, but he wanted to do it with George Lucas, right? Like George Lucas, I think we would have gotten a completely different Star Wars. A lot of people just, people have their opinions on George Lucas, right? Yes, obviously he did Phantom Menace and there was some stuff that were bad about it, but he knows the way the story should be, right? It's his story. And so when he sold the rights to Disney, they completely did it their own way, right? And Mark Hamill has said in numerous interviews, like, yeah, I came back, I did the movies, but I'm not proud. Like, they're just not what I think, Luke Skywalker should have been, right? Like you saw in the first three movies, Luke Skywalker is a symbol of hope, right? He's like one of those Jedi's, and then you see him in episode what is that 8, and to your point, he grabs the lightsaber and tosses it over his head, right? He's more angry, all that stuff. So it's like, I felt like we lost potential with Luke with what they did with him.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, bro. I'm with you. I think the prequels, hands down, the best. Um, who would you say for you? Like, I guess I know Obi-Wan is your top, but like, is there any other character that you feel also like that resonates with you, like in the series? Whether it's a Jedi, or it's someone that you felt like maybe their teachings that are very inspiring. Like who would you say that also like stood out to you that you also fell in love with Star Wars?
Um, in terms of characters, I mean, Anakin is one, right? I love Anakin. Um, Obi-Wan definitely number one. I actually really like Han Solo, right? I think he's kind of relatable. He's a guy who just happened to be at a bar one day and ends up running into these things, and then his mindset is like, let me go do a job, get my money, and get out, right? But then a little bit of his subconscious tells him, hey, you got to do the right thing, you got to do the right thing, and he tries to help them, right? And ends up changing his life and for the better. So I think Han Solo's a really good character. One that's relatable, right? Some people don't like to get themselves involved in things, right? They're like, yeah, let me just pay me to do a job, let me stick out of it. But then, the humanity in you tells you, okay, you do the right thing. So I think Han Solo's a good one. Master Yoda always has been super cool, right? I think if you've noticed in the prequels, he's more like um wise, I would say, and then in the new series, he's a little more silly, right? It's like kind of complete opposite, but Yoda's always been really good. And then I like Boba Fett. Boba Fett's it's a cool character, right? Boba Fett has always been cool. The show was a little weird, I mean, I think I like part of it. It felt like another Mandalorian episode, a season, honestly, but Boba Fett's cool.
Nice, nice. I gotta say, like, I think what's interesting after Revenge of the Sith, when Order 66, you can tell everyone had a different reaction from that moment. So, like, Obi-Wan got more depressed he had a lot of trauma, right? Thinking about how he failed as a master to Anakin.
Yeah, he feels responsible.
Right, right, which is normal. It's a normal caring way. You have Yoda going back on Yoda being so serious and wise, like you said, he used laughter to hide his true emotions inside. I have a cousin that he went through a lot, but now anytime it's time to be serious, he always makes a joke. Because they what I learned is he hides what's really inside. It's a way of coping, trauma. That's another way of
Yeah,
coping. Um, Even if you look at like, you know, Darth Vader, right? He took it like more like he basically rules this galaxy too. He's like above the elites. He's like in a different world. He doesn't really have to worry about, you know, coming to a Jedi order, right? A Jedi council. He's more like, all right, it's me and my master. I just can't let him down. That's it. But he's teaching me along the way new things. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's fascinating to see how it's almost like with Endgame from Marvel, when everyone half of the population were gone, you could tell like Natasha, her character Nat, she was really sad. Like
yeah.
her
Everyone reacted differently to it, right? Some people went to go into hiding. Some people were a little more trying to be supportive. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's amazing how this could happen with like anyone that you lose that you consider family. These are the things that people take different routes. It's not always the same. You know what I'm
you
saying?
know what? Also what I would like to see is I would like to see a Mace Windu series. I thought Mace Windu was dope. The only dude in the show with a purple lightsaber, right? I feel like there's more to his character. He's very serious all the time, but I feel like there was more to his character, and I wish we can see something else. I'm lobbying for a Mace Windu series.
Hey, I'm with you, bro. I think that, Samuel Jackson, if he comes back, we need the original him. Not no new person. Maybe a flashback when he was younger, like a different
Mhm.
person to play him. But I
Right.
think his voice and him himself will be perfect. I'm with you 100%, brother. So look, I know Zoom about to kick me out. I got like 4 minutes, so let me just say real quick, guys. This is the Outlet to Reality, the oldest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. My Snapchat is Take More Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And brother Chino, where can my fans find you?
I'm on Instagram, just known as Chino, or you can search me by my name, Jose Palacios. Same thing with Facebook.